Morning, everyone. It is 9 o'clock. I'll call this meeting to order. Before we begin, I want to recognize and acknowledge the traditional keepers of this land with whom we share today. The Township of Southgate is a part of the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Six Nations of the Grand River, the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, the Haudenosaunee, and the Saugeen Métis. The land that surrounds us is part of who we are as it reflects our histories. May we live in peace and friendship with all its diverse peoples. I want to note that today is an anniversary of sorts. It is the anniversary of the massacre in Montreal at the École Polytechnique. So today is the National Day of Remembrance. So I wonder if maybe we take a moment of silence to remember those that lost their lives. Thank you. And I also would note, coincidentally, that today in 1921, Agnes MacPhail was elected to the Canadian Parliament, being the first woman that was elected to the Canadian Parliament. Of course, Agnes is a Southgate native. I know Grey Highlands takes pleasure in trying to claim her, but she is in fact from Southgate. Madam Clerk, is there anyone registered for open forum?
None today, Mimo.
Thank you. I need a confirmation of the agenda as presented. Someone care to move that? Jason and Jim, any discussion? Barb?
Was it amended?
It's
That-
just as amended. It's fine.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Is there any declaration of interest related to any item on today's agenda? Not Jason.
I have one in the closed session. I'm not sure which one it is, but
Okay. All right. I'm sure you can
yeah,
provide the clerk with the
Yep.
paperwork. Thank you. And of course, if any other interest arises during the course of the meeting, you can declare it at that time. So we have a public meeting related to the 2024 fees and charges presentation, or the bylaw and so on. So who will be leading that? You,
Sure.
Madam Clerk?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Thank you. So carry on, Madam Clerk. The floor is yours.
Okay. The track change document was included in the agenda. So you can refer to that as we move through the presentation. The presentation is very high level. So if you have questions on the schedules that we did make changes to, just I think we can ask as we go. That's fine. So just general, I added a slide there where we didn't have any amendments proposed to quite a few of the schedules. So first, Schedule A administration, very minimal amendments here. Maybe Dina, if you want to elaborate on that, I can do it that way.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. The only changes on the administration's fees that we decided was just to round up some photocopies and faxes, laminating costs very slightly. And we changed our statement of accounts to have one fee rather than the complicated structure that was there before. So it's just every statement of account is $30.
Okay, if there's no questions on that schedule, we'll move on to fire. I'll let Derek elaborate on that microphone.
Morning, everyone. So we added the false alarms call in there, which was a bylaw that was passed previously. And we just thought it was a perfect time to update it, as well as the smoke alarm cost recovery that was passed in 2020. That still didn't make its way into the fees and charges bylaw. So we included that in there. And we just updated our our file search reports to $100 versus it came in at 80 something dollars before that. So.
Through you, good morning. And thank you. With regard to smoke alarm recovery, I know that at times you do a blitz where you are, where if smoke alarms are donated, I suppose, to the fire department, but when would that fee be imposed and how is it collected?
So when we do smoke alarm blitzes, essentially we go into the houses, and if we find deficient smoke alarms, we kind of give them an option. Here's a loaner one. We're not going to leave them without any coverage. And if you don't return that within 10 days, then we're going to send you a bill for it. Otherwise, at that point, we can offer them too. If you want us to install these smoke alarms, or we'll install them for you at the cost of the smoke alarm. That way everyone's safe.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, moving on from fire, building department. Use your microphone, please. Microphone, please.
I apologize. It's been a while. So the building department has reviewed and has made some changes to our fees. The application and changes of use fees have increased. Inspection and file searches have increased. That's administration. Sewage deck, swimming pool permit fees have increased, and there's also various minimal increases throughout the lines of the process. I will state at this time that if anybody requests or requires the justification for these fees, it is available at no cost by contacting our office. Thank you.
Moving on from building. The solid waste schedule, Jim is unavailable, so I'll between Dina, or yeah, Dina, you go ahead.
So some of these fees have increased. The collection cart delivery fee has been added, and a new change is the collection carts will be charged at time of building permit for new homes. This is a significant change for how we do business. Some of our administrative practices are to provide service and collect fees following that. And we are shifting to fee for service, where we are getting the service paid for before we provide the carts. So you'll see that there's another change coming forward when we talk about water, but those are the changes there. Waste.
Thank you. Through you. With regard to the delivery cart fee, that has not been, we didn't have that on the fees and charges before. Is that for when people request a replacement bin and they can't pick it up at the depot? Or is that for a new, let's just say, use an example of a new home and the township is delivering the bins to the newly occupied homes? Who's paying for that? And
That's correct. So at the if the developer wishes us to deliver waste collection bins, it will be charged at building permit fee with their building permit, because currently we are not charging and we are delivering the bins, so that's not a service we should not be charging for. For developers. We will for people who want to pick them up, we will have them available in I believe in Dundalk and in Egremont, so that they're able to pick them up close by. If they are not able to pick them up, we will charge a delivery fee. However, there will be an exemption process for people that cannot, I believe. There's an exemption process that we're putting in place for very rare circumstances.
on a case by case basis.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, recreation.
One of the changes we made was just the titles of a couple categories, just so we could be a little more understanding of some fees in some different facilities, such as the pavilions. Now we can give the programming rate, because it was not, they were in a separate category. So we just kind of blended some of them to get the fees and charges more the same across the board between all facilities. And the other changes was we went with a 2% increase across the board on fees, and we eliminated some of the unused fees that we haven't been charging, and a couple of them are in the arena auditorium. So those are the changes in rec.
Okay, seeing no questions for that. Library, Lacey's not available to, but I can take this one. She removed the scanning fee. There's no consumable involved. They've been scanning to email, so that fee was removed. And then there was actually slight decreases to the mill room rental fees. Main reason there is just so it was a rounded number for collection. She doesn't have debit or credit available at the library, so it's just easier when there's cash only. And that was it.
Planning?
Yep,
Hold that
planning's
for the
next.
library.
That's it for the library. Sorry. No. So moving on to planning, I'll let Dina take that one.
So, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did make quite a few changes to our planning fees. We did an extensive survey amongst, I believe, 8 different municipalities, as well as had our senior planner Bill review the fees. And we also spoke with Grey Highlands Matt Ripke. Victoria and I had a meeting with him. So we are more it's this average fees. We are trying to be in line with what our costs are as far as adding new staff in the planning department. And so several fees have increased, some of them significantly to be in line with others. Which schedule is that? Okay. Yeah. So if there are any questions there, I'll find this schedule.
Through you, and we're going through this at the Conservation Authority as well. This is geared to cost recovery, correct? The
Correct.
staff time, applications, circulation to other agencies, pulling all of that work together for an official plan amendment or a zoning bylaw amendment.
Yeah.
So
Yes, some of the files are actually very labor intensive with the amount of meetings, repeat meetings, and consultations and staff time
yes,
as administrative staff, as well as the planning review.
and the goal is that development pays for development.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any questions there?
Okay, moving on, the last schedule with a change was water. So amendments here, the water meter cost did increase a little bit on new and replacement meters. And then we added an inspection or reinspection of an installation of a water meter fee. The process is changing slightly with that as well. We're going to be charging the water meters at time of building permit issuance, same as the collection carts. And the water guys in town just have a bit of a different process now. They're inspecting rather than installing. So there's a fee for their inspection to cost recover that. That's it.
Quick question about the installation. I didn't actually realize that. They're no longer going to install the water meters.
Correct.
Who is installing them and are they certified? I don't know what the process is.
Through the mayor. So it would be the plumber, like whoever's building the home. It's up to them to get it installed and then the guys inspect. And that also falls under occupancy, I believe, right, Bev? Yes.
Yes, thank you. So just one more comment regarding that. We did also look at the municipalities around us and what they do. And we are also going to be developing and providing an installation guide with our building permits, and licensed plumber will be installing it. And then but prior to occupancy, our water staff will inspect it and get the information they need. And they will no longer install without a fee.
Did you want to add anything, Beth? No? Good. All right.
So those are the changes. There was, we did have an opportunity for people to submit any questions or comments in writing to us or phone call, and we did not receive any from the public. So if there's no more questions from members of council, that would be the end of our public meeting.
Well, look, the deputy mayor has a question. Oh. Martin, go ahead.
I've been waiting for a couple.
Go ahead, Martin.
Oh.
Lindsay, with the lottery licenses, when we get money for that, does that go to LNG or is that township? I've never understood how those things,
No, that's township revenue.
that's township revenue, okay.
Yep.
And I have two.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank Bev, you mentioned the sewage, private sewage disposal. You have classes 4 and 5, and then there was not any number to a fee. Like, what's the difference between that sewage? It was on page 25. There was a line saying sewage disposal fee, and then there was something for 4 and 5 class. We're getting into murky waters here, I know.
It's what you had me remove, Bev.
Oh, okay.
Class 4 and 5 are just different styles of a.
Different styles. Okay.
Excuse me. Thank you. Class 4 and 5 septic systems are just different styles or different ways of building a septic system. The fee is still the same for both of them,
Okay,
but
okay.
I just have to separate them so that it's known in the public that either one. There's also class 1, 2, and 3, but we won't go down there.
Okay. That's about it.
Okay, thanks, Martin.
Thank you.
Barb.
Forgot what I was going to ask. It's okay. It was actually just to point out that Martin wanted to speak. He kept looking up here.
Okay. Thank you. Any further questions? Monica?
Hi, good morning, everybody. Just through you, Chair, to Lindsay for waste. If it was already said, I apologize, but I was just wondering for the increase for the recycling, organic and waste carts, what was the reason for that, for the increase?
Sure, through you, Mayor Mellon. The guys are doing a lot of assembly with the carts that we weren't recovering those costs, and also moving them around the township so they're available because they do all the assembly in Egremont at the transfer station or at the landfill, sorry. So they're trucking it across then, so they're available at the Dundalk transfer station. So just recouping some of those costs through the collection carts.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Barb?
Just one final question about, you indicated that there was no public comment. Was this
None
only,
received, yeah.
sorry, was this only circulated in the agenda, or was it advertised in the paper
Yeah.
or out on social media?
Yeah, so website, social media, and we did a newspaper advertisement.
Okay. Alrighty then. Obviously there's, is there anybody for verbal comments? I don't see anybody online. I don't see any, well, obviously nobody here in the audience, so.
Nope.
All right. Well then, do I need a motion to adjourn the public meeting portion or just carry on?
We'll just note that it was adjourned at 9:18.
All right, okay then. I don't believe there's any delegations or presentations. Adoptions and the adoption of the minutes of November 15th, special and closed session meetings. Someone care to move that? Jim, seconded by Martin. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to reports of municipal officers. First, we have Fire Chief Derek Melnick, who is here. He's going to be talking about firehouse subgrants. Someone care to move that, please? Martin, seconded by Barb. Welcome, Chief. And this is not about sandwiches, right?
That would be correct. Not about sandwiches. So every year Firehouse Subs opens an application to give a grant or a gift of money to local fire departments where there's a firehouse sub. There's one in Orangeville and one in Owen Sound. And so you submit items that you wish that you could have, which maybe is outside of our regular budget scheme. And we were generous enough to get $34,000 approximately from them for some of this equipment. So some of the equipment that we would be getting is an airbag kit for car accidents as well as rural rescue. We haven't had one of those in 10 years, as well as some other appliances for the truck. So right now we only have gated hydrant gates for the 65 or 2.5 inch ports on the hydrant. So to actually get one for the 4 inch on the front, each one is about $4,000. So we put in for a bunch of items like that and we were successful. So just want to thank Firehouse Subs for considering us and picking us.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, kudos to you, Chief, for submitting that application, and congratulations on being successful. I wonder if maybe you could submit one for maybe a ladder truck, something like that. Just saying.
There's only a $50,000 limit.
Well, that might buy the tires.
Maybe.
Every little bit helps. In any case, any questions regarding Martin? Go ahead.
Morning, Derek. I think it's great. When I read that, I said, wow, Firehouse Subs, they're great subs and they give back to the community. So that's cool. The one question in the concluding comments, when you put and take staff time to put in an application, do you, I guess, Lindsay, do you really have to come back and ask council to put it in, authorize it when you're done all the work? Is there a legality there? Because,
So council's just authorizing the fire chief to execute the agreement,
yeah,
Yeah.
but,
which we're required to do
oh, you're,
at this
okay,
time. Yeah.
okay. And the other one is AJ Stone. Is that the only equipment supplier for these needs, or is it one we've used all the time? So we have a good relationship with them?
Through the mayor. We actually have a bunch of vendors that we normally use. AJ Stone was just the one that was able to supply us everything on our wish list. Instead of, it had to be through, the grant had to be through one supplier. And AJ Stone hit all the boxes for offering all this equipment we needed, where some of our other manufacturers would only be able to offer us the airbag or the appliances, not everything together.
Okay, that's good then. So good to have a wish list done at December.
Yep, for
So
sure.
that's cool. That's it for me.
All right. Thanks, Martin. Anybody else? Monica?
Yes, I would, just through you, Chair, to the fire chief, just echo the mayor's express comments of appreciation for the staff efforts in applying for the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundations of Canada grant. It's a really great thing. Just with regards to the grant amount, I'm just wondering if there is a discrepancy. The report states that the original quote for desired equipment was $36,512.56, but the received agreement is for a total of $34,597.21. So just wondering if there was any clarification that was needed in the difference of the granted amount and whether it affects the original plan for the equipment purchase, just to make sure that the fire department gets everything they need.
Chief?
Through you, the mayor. So we don't believe there's any issue with that whatsoever. So as a municipality, we get a certain percentage of our HST back, where the quote at $36,000 has the HST included. So we're thinking Firehouse Sub did the math itself there and accounted for what we would get back for HST.
Oh, perfect. All right. Thank you. Great job.
Thanks, Monica. Anyone else? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. Thanks, Chief. Economic Development Officer Brenna Carroll has the next report regarding a business retention and expansion program. Someone care to move that, please? Barb, second by Monica. Brenna, welcome.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, this report is just to inform council and request approval for the commencements of our business retention and expansion program, which would start in the new year. This is in line with goal 1A of our new strategic plan to do a BRE study and implement the results from the study. So basically this program would be run in-house and we would survey businesses through conducting interviews in the first quarter of 2024. And then through that process, we'll gather information about action plans for our business community. And then also it's an opportunity to refer businesses to local supports as needed.
Excellent. Thank you, Brenna. Any questions? Joan?
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the chair. For Brenna, will you be going door to door to the businesses downtown also to get any input or ask questions?
Yes, thank you. And through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, so we'll be doing in-person interviews, or I will be doing them. We'll send out an initial email to businesses, then we'll do downtown walks in Dundalk and Holstein to kind of book that time. And then we'll also call through different businesses that aren't located in those areas and then go to them to do the interviews. So the interviews should take about 30 to 40 minutes, and then there will be follow-up by me following those interviews.
Okay,
Thank you.
Martin?
Morning, Brenna.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you. Morning. The team of 6 to 12, is that going to be comprised of staff and business owners, or first question?
Yes, so it will be mostly staff and maybe some representatives from our business community or chamber. And that will to be formulating the survey. And there's a draft survey available through OMAFRA, so we can select questions and then add questions that we want to see. So yes, once this is approved, then I'll go about putting together that group. But yes, mostly staff from various departments.
Okay. Second question then, are you going to be using the chamber's information too? Or you doing it in-house, which
Oh,
I think
for-
is great,
Yes.
but are
Yes,
you going
so-
to use their data as well?
I'm hoping to use the chamber to utilize their mailing list. So they
Yeah.
send out a newsletter every month or so.
Yeah.
And so we'll use that in order to inform businesses about the program. And yeah, mostly to get in touch with businesses is the information we'll use from them.
May I have one
Yep,
more?
absolutely.
And then with the, this is going to the brick and mortar shops. Or is the chamber and yourself trying to target the in-home businesses that are flourishing in Dundalk? You see them posted all the time. Is
Mhm.
that an avenue you're looking into as well?
It's definitely, yes, I'm trying to do a cross section of businesses. So being able to interview some of the in-home businesses would be excellent as well. I do have some contact information with them, although I haven't made many connections with them, but except through social media. So I'm hoping to talk to in-home businesses as well. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Barb?
Thank you, and through you, thanks Brenna for bringing this forward so quickly. The businesses, you're going to do a walkabout in, Dundalk and Holstein to the bricks and mortar businesses, a campaign through the paper and social media to attract other businesses. For those on farm businesses, the ones that are out in the rural settings, are you going to be reaching out to them? Because the chamber doesn't necessarily have all businesses as members. How will we reach out to those businesses?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the question, and through you, Mr. Chair. For those businesses, we do have an existing business directory. So I will go through and email all those businesses, which we had some great response, obviously, from our strategic plan from businesses. So we had about 60 people respond from varying avenues. And then I will also call through that list as well to see if I can access people. So I'm hoping to use every avenue to be able to reach out to those businesses as well. Thank you.
Do you, Brenna, have any idea how long it's been since we've done one of these? I remember one was done. I think that's when I was mayor before, so it'd be in the 2010 to 14 in there somewhere. Be interesting to see that and compare some of those metrics to what you get now this time, just to see how things have changed. Henry Michek was the EDO at that time. So anyway, just a thought. There might be even, well, I'm sure there are some businesses that would carry over from that time. There might be some business contacts in there that you might find useful.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll definitely look into that one. I haven't seen that one, but now that I know of the timeline for that, I'll look for that. And then the last one, the county ran one with ag businesses. It was through Bruce, Gray, and Simcoe counties specific to the agri-food sector. And that was in 2018. So I've read through that, and that was helpful in a way. So that would be the last one that covered businesses in this area,
Right.
is my understanding. Thank
Okay,
you.
good. Monica, you had a question.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Brian. And just through you, and just to your last comment, actually, to that point, I think that's an excellent idea. It's almost like a reverse gap analysis where we want to see where we are and we're going, but if we could see where we've been and where we are now, that would be amazing. So that's an amazing idea. And just through you, Chair, to the EDO, thank you for such a great report. Business retention and expansion is definitely something that is music to the ears of many. Just with regards to timelines and milestones, as this program is very detailed and it's spanning from the quarter of 2023 to September 2024. Again, appreciation of the thorough planning. Would there be a possibility now of a little bit of elaboration on specific milestones and deliverables expected through each phase of the program, just to make sure like transparency, accountability, and then we could also look forward, or I can understand if it's just like the beginning, if that's something that could be talked about at a later point.
Yes, thank you so much, Councillor Singh Source, for that question, and through you. So there will be kind of a sharing of the results after that initial stage of the survey, and then various so after the first quarter of 2024, once the survey data has been compiled, we'll hold a review meeting with that leadership team, and then start developing action plans. So that will be shared. And then following that period, we'll also be sharing the results with the public and working with business owners in order to develop action plans for what they want to see in the community based on the results to the survey. So there will be public meetings as part of the program, likely held during the second quarter. And then ultimately there will be a report and then publication of the findings of the report through social media and the paper. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, very exciting. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
All righty. Not seeing any more questions. I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much, Brenna. Moving on to our new treasurer, Taylor McMahon. We have a report there regarding capital and operating interim spending authority prior to the 2024 budget approval. Would someone care to move that, please? Martin and Barb. Taylor, welcome.
Okay, thank you for having me this morning. As outlined in the report, we thought it was prudent to go ahead and ask for pre-approval on the budget since we don't have approval on the 2024 budget at this time, and we have major projects that we don't want to go either without tendering or gaps in service on the operating side. So that's what we're hoping to do. And then we're hoping to make this an annual report so that there's no gaps in service going forward and that we can maintain favorable pricing.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions? Okay, not seeing any. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, Taylor. It's always a sign of a good report if there's no questions. All clerk.
I don't
Green.
have one for that. I just wonder if I see Hannah's on the line, Bev, if you want to introduce her.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to take a moment to introduce Hannah Coombs. She is Southgate's new bylaw officer. She started with us Monday and things are going swell. Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Welcome, Hannah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself while you got the opportunity? And I don't give Bev the floor very often, but I'm sure I'll be giving you the floor more.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would love to say a few words. So first off, I'm very glad to be with the Township of Southgate. I have traveled a lot. Originally, I'm from Australia. I was in the military over there and came to Canada. I went into the police force. I was with the RCMP for quite a while and then decided bylaw enforcement was where I wanted to focus my career. So then I went into bylaw.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I would have guessed you were from Australia, but not because of the accent. No, I'm kidding. Of course, because of the accent. But you're probably thinking there is no accent, right?
Correct. I
Right,
don't feel I have an
exactly. We've got
accent
the
because I
accent.
don't hear it, but everyone else does.
In any case, welcome. And we hope you enjoy your time here with Southgate.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Bev, for that. Thank you, Lindsay. So let's see, where are we at? Okay, now we're down to the clerk, Lindsay Green. She has a couple of reports there. The first is regarding the Integrity Commissioner reappointment and agreement renewal. Would someone care to move that, please? Joe and Will? Yes? Thank you. And Barb, thank you. Lindsay?
Through you, Mayor Milne. This is, our agreement is expiring at the end of the year. We want to maintain our professional relationship we have right now with Principals Integrity. So staff are recommending that we reappoint and renew our agreement with Principals Integrity. The fee went up a little bit, not a lot. That's included under the financials. And the agreement is with the bylaws. So I'll just take questions if there's any.
Thank you, Lindsay. Are there any questions? Martin?
I've got a comment.
There you go.
Thank you. I sound like a broken record at times. When I see stuff like this, it just saddens me that we have to have an integrity commissioner. It just bugs me no end. And Barb and I were talking to Deputy Mayor. We were talking about it last night. You know, thank you, Dina, for the municipal subscription. I did that at the beginning of the year, and with that print copy, you get daily newsletters. And I could say I'm sickened by the amount of breaches of the code of conduct. And then an integrity commissioner having $40,000 of taxpayers' fees to pay for it. The lack of, I'm so thankful we have a good team here, you know, and to see that lack of disrespect and the privilege that some people think they have when they get elected. It's unfortunate that we have to go this route. So, you know, I'm all for it. We have to, it's mandated, but you know, they talk about trickle down economy, you know, there's trickle down effects for leadership too. When you get a speaker in the House of Commons getting heckled, and part of his speech is about the lack of decorum and heckling in the House, this is federal. And then you see all this stuff going on in municipal, it's just unfortunate. So I know we have to have it, and that's the way it is, but it's just too bad.
Thank you, Martin. And to be clear, that 40,000 was not here in Southgate. No,
No.
no, just so everybody's clear on that part. So, okay. Oh, sorry, Jason.
Actually, that was one of my questions. What do we spend a year? Is it?
Through you, Mayor Milne. So they do have an annual retainer, which is $1,200. And then if they get a call or have to do an investigation, then they charge an hourly rate. Unfortunately, I can't predict that because it's just how much the service is used, and I don't get a whole lot of details because it's maintained confidential between whoever's calling and the integrity commissioner. But it just depends. We get monthly bills if they are contacted or need to do any work, then we receive them monthly, but we can count on the annual retainer. And that's about all I know until I
So
get a
what-
bill if I get one.
What in the past have we spent a year roughly? Or I was just curious. That was
I think probably for this year, I'm projecting for the end of the year, it'll be around probably closer to 5,000. Yeah, and that would include our, we did the training when they came back in whichever month that was, March maybe, I don't know when that was, but
no, I was just curious.
Okay, Barb?
Through you, are we charged when we consult with the integrity commissioner on whether or not we have a conflict of interest, or is that covered by the retainer? So if I send an email as per the process, I explain the subject matter and I get a response, there's an extra charge for that?
yeah, so everything basically is charged. their hourly rate.
And the hourly rate is $2.75 an hour, if I read the report
Yeah.
correctly. So in some respects, that's not too bad. You know, in terms of legal fees, right?
Yeah.
Joan, you have a question? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. So Lindsay, you said it would be about $5,000 for this year. Is it comparable to last year or more or less?
I'd honestly have to look, Counselor John. I would say it's probably a little bit more, but that's to be expected with a new term of council for sure. Like in 2022, it was outgoing for most of the year, so it's usually to be expected with a newer term.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions? Not seeing any. I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. The next item is the bylaw related to the preceding report to appoint the Integrity Commissioner for the 4-year term. Someone care to move that? Jim, seconded by Jason. Any discussion? Lindsay, anything to add regarding the bylaw? No? Okay. Yeah, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. The next report from the clerk is regarding the Melanchthon Township Recreation Services Agreement renewal. Someone care to move that, please? Joan, seconded by Jim. Thank you. Madam Clerk.
I don't have a whole lot to add here. I'm glad Kevin's still here if you have questions. The agreement's pretty much the same as the one we've had the last couple of years, so we're renewing for another 4-year term. I don't know if Kevin has anything to add.
Absolutely. Kevin, you want to?
No, the agreement's a good agreement for Melanchthon and us. The numbers certainly decreasing in the usage from Melanchthon. With the change of the demographics and everything going on there. The actual percentage is now they're paying in around 6%, not the 10 because of the capped contribution, but they question numbers and everything. I said, look, you're 6% now, and that's probably pretty close on the numbers without going through a whole big research. And I think they come back happy at that.
Is that, is the agreement subject to inflationary increases, or is it strictly a negotiated number?
It was never in there before. We never increased it annually. We've been increasing our rates annually to keep that.
Right. Okay, good. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Martin, go ahead.
Kevin, you said Melanchthon, their numbers are down. Is that primarily arena use? Or is it, are they going to Shelburne or whatever?
So originally this agreement was on just the arena usage. And unfortunately, when Dundalk and Flusherton amalgamated minor hockey, that took Melanchthon kind of out of the area. So most of their children or youth that are in Melanchthon are now going to Honeywood or Shelburne. Some are still coming our way, but a lot of the farms are now Mennonites. They don't have an urban population there that's playing sports. So without going through actual numbers and tracking everybody, I think they're pretty happy with this. But they do also pay into the parks and rec in the pool. So they do get usage in there, but it's at 6%. That's probably an accurate representation now with our subdivision coming in and the number of kids, youth using our facilities.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Kevin. Any other questions? Monica.
Yes, thank you. Just through you, Chair, to Kevin for recreation. Just with regards to the longstanding partnership, is commendable that the Township of Southgate has maintained such a longstanding partnership with Melanchthon. With that being said, there was already some comments about the positive outcomes resulting from this partnership. Was there any other further highlights that Kevin, you may want to touch on just for, speaking to the collaboration over the years and why it's been such a notable success?
I would say the success is just based on the fact that Melanchthon is a smaller municipality and they don't have the infrastructure. So they bought into our infrastructure. They also pay into Shelburne. They also pay into Honeywood, and some of the other facilities and costs are getting, higher and higher and higher. They've been happy that we've been able to maintain our operating deficit. In 10 years, it's only gone up from 100,000 to 130,000. So we've only gone up $35,000 in 10 years, as some of the other facilities of, depending on how you manage it, deficits are different in each facility. So I think they're happy with the way we operate.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for the question, Monica. Anyone else? I would think it'd be fair to state that over the years, and we have our own experiences here in Southgate, it's generally always cheaper to buy services than it is to provide them directly. So it works well for both municipalities. Okay, not seeing any further questions. I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. The next item is the bylaw related to that agreement. Someone care to move? Jim, rather. Monica will second that. Anything further regarding the bylaw? Nope, not seeing any. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Kevin. Human Resources Manager, Kayla Best. Is Kayla, she is online. There she is. Welcome, Kayla. This is a report regarding staff step increases and cost of living allowance. Someone care to move this, please? Martin and Joan, thank you. Kayla, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Thank you. I don't have too much to say on this report. This is our annual report that we bring to council regarding our pay grid and our staff step increases. So we've gone through the new performance appraisal process and we have recommended step increases in there. And then also COLA, which is the cost of living. We use the October number. It came in at 2.286. So rounded to the nearest 10th is 3.3%. So that's a recommendation that's in the report.
Thank you, Kayla. And I'm sure it was just a slip of the tongue, but I think you meant 3.2 for the COLA. You said 2.
Sorry, 3.286.
Okay, good. Excellent. Any questions? Jason.
Here we go again. Everybody will be thinking, but is this something, I know we do it every time this year, but I mean, we've just approved half of our budget. We're going to approve this. I don't know, it just seems like a lot before we've got the budget done to, I have no idea what the budget's going to come in at. So I don't know, just a question. Are we jumping the gun until we know what our number is going to be? I don't know who that's to, but.
Kayla?
I believe the reason we do this ahead of time is because it's effective January 1st. So we need to be able to get everything in line for staff. It's general practice for us. I don't know if Dina has any comments on top of that.
Dina?
I can't comment on historically what the township has done, but it seems like this is an annual report that we bring forward in order to, make sure that our payroll processes are all up to date as of January 1st. You'll notice when we approved half the operating budget, and that's typical. Half of 2023's operating budget is what we approved going forward, and that should be an annual thing that we do, so that of January 1st, services aren't diminished. We should be continuing those services. So as far as the capital, our process changed a bit this year, just to add in those specific projects. The Eco Park specifically is a large amount, a huge project, probably the largest project the township has ever done, but that's not hitting the tax base. So we don't need to worry about that hitting the tax base. But I think typically this is an important report to bring forward in order that the staff that have done their jobs throughout the year and are moving forward to their next step in their grid, get that approval, and that the COLA is adjusted appropriately every year.
Thank you, Dina. And I will note that the policy does say that the changes take effect as of January 1st. So to Kayla's point, this is something we've done every year in the
No, I-
past. And so that's the reason why it's done the way it is. If council wishes to make changes to that policy, then of course that's a prerogative of council to change that policy, but that's the reason why it's done the way it is. Any other questions? Martin?
Thank you, Brian. First off, a comment. Dina, you touched on it, the fact that there are 38 employees that have met or exceeded. That could be in the good news part of the agenda. That's good news. Kayla, reading the staff comments, you mentioned employees that are not eligible are at a job rate. What kind of worker is involved in that part of your comments? Not on the pay grid, at job rate. I've never seen that before, quite frankly.
Yes, thank you. So our pay grid goes up to step 6, which is considered job rate. So those that have been with the municipality for a long time are at their job rate. So they would just get the COLA increase. They wouldn't get a step increase in addition to the COLA.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Barb?
Thank you, through you. Thank you, Kayla. The consequence of not imposing this now or implementing this now would be that once the budget is approved, and our policy is that we implement COLA at a minimum, it would be a requirement to go retroactive to January 1, and that creates more administration and confusion sometimes. I did want to refer to the financial implications. The impact without the user fee wages. So we collect user fees to, I'm assuming that's like water and wastewater staff. The impact is 193,839, which perhaps this question is to Taylor. If I go by last year, I think 1% of the levy was about 140,000. So this would be about 1.2, an impact to the budget of 1.2% overall. I'm throwing numbers out there, and sorry, I just did the math on my piece of paper. Thank you.
The calculation for this year's 1% hasn't been done yet, but I believe you're correct. And last year it was about 150 was 1%. If anyone wants to correct me, feel free. But
Taylor, did you have anything you wanted to add, or?
No, I agree with Dina.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Sorry,
Opposed?
Mayor.
Sorry, sorry, I thought I heard. Oh,
Yep.
Did you have a question, Monica?
I did, and I think maybe Kayla had a comment. Sorry. I know
All
we're
right.
on Zoom, so it's a little.
All right, Monica, go ahead with your question.
Oh, sure. I don't mind, Mr. Chair, but I don't know if Kayla, she had a comment to the last point, so I don't want to jump ahead of her. Sorry. Should I just
Kayla,
go?
maybe you'll answer Monica's question.
Sure.
Kayla?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say, yes, it's water and wastewater for the user fee, but it's also the building department.
Okay, thank you, Kayla. Monica, your question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair, for that. Just two questions, and I'll ask them one by one because one might answer the other. Just for the COLA increase and the application, with the recommended 3.3% COLA increase to the entire pay grid, including those on probation, I was just through you, Chair, could the staff provide insights into how this COLA increase aligns with the broader economic context and whether it adequately addresses the cost of living for employees in the region?
Who would like to take a run at that one? Kayla?
I could try.
Sure.
It's a good question. So we do use the Ontario October CPI to try and stay in line with where the economy is. However, we are also completing that market check so that will be separate, and that will just make sure that we stay in line as well.
Okay, thank you for that. And just a quick follow-up,
Yep, please.
just with regards to the council and volunteer firefighter pay grids, which to the point of CAO was talking about the pay grids, just through you, Chair, again, it's noted that it applies again to council and volunteer firefighter pay grids. So could staff provide information on how the COLA increase for council aligns with comparable municipalities, ensuring that it remains competitive for the role?
Kayla?
I believe that we could do another market check on council wages if that's what council wishes for staff to do. They were in line when we checked last time, and I'm not sure if everybody uses COLA to update the wages the way that we've agreed to do. So I think this keeps us in line, but I can't say for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking we did just do a comparator study not that long ago, didn't we, Kayla? Yeah, so
Yes.
regardless of the 3.3 or whatever percent it is, I think we're going to remain pretty close to where our competitors or our comparables are at. Most use COLA because it's an easy way to try to stay in line. So I would think we're going to be not too far off. Did you have a question, Barb? Go ahead.
More of just a comment or a little bit more of a history. Kayla did a market check analysis last year at the tradition is that the outgoing council reviews the remuneration for the incoming council. And as a result of that market check analysis, there were significant changes to the council pay grid. The stipend was increased, as well as the individual per diems for half and full day. So the cost of living was also through Kayla's report recommended as an annual increase. So just to keep it competitive, but it was compared, if I'm not mistaken, Kayla, that market check analysis was done in around August, September, in around the summertime, so that it could be implemented before the election. And the neighboring municipalities were all considered. We were not the least paid council, but there are several that actually have a flat rate, like Wellington North, that certainly is paid quite a bit less. Thank you.
Yeah, everybody tries to get to that 55% off.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? Yeah, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Okay, that's carried. Moving on to Public Works Manager Jim Ellis, who is not here today, but he has a couple of reports. The first is the Standing Timber Award recommendations. John Watson's online. He's going to take this report, I understand, but I need a mover and a seconder first for this. Jason and Barb. Welcome, John. There we go.
Thank you, Mayor Mill.
Yep.
Yeah, so we put forward a tender. We had Eccles Forestry mark some of our standing timber forests. And we put out a tender through Eccles Forestry, and the proposed winning bidders for property number 1 is Bamberg Sawmill for a total of $9,550. Proposed winner for property 2 would be Tri Bridges for a total of $30,000. And the proposed winning bid for property number 3 is Pineview Cedar Products of $22,775.
Thank you, John. Any questions? Barb?
Through you. Hi, John. The actual harvesting, is there a deadline by which the successful bidders have to complete the work?
I believe it's in the tender. I can't remember the exact wordage, but I believe it has to be completed throughout this winter.
Thank you.
I would think a lot of those properties, you wouldn't be able to do them unless the ground was frozen. So I suspect
Yeah.
it'll be done this winter for sure.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Not seeing any. I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. And John, the next report you have is regarding the bulk water filling station award recommendation. Someone care to move that, please? Jim and Joan. John? Joan and
Yeah.
John. That's almost the triple J's right on. Good.
So with the bringing the water tower online, we're wanting to install a bulk water filling station there. Currently, there's a lot of contractors that do directional drilling or stuff like that that require bulk water, and we've just had them hooking on the fire hydrants in the past, but there's no good backflow prevention to protect our water source. And also not a good way of billing them for it. So by putting in this bulk water filling station, we would be able to protect our water source as well as bill the contractors or whoever comes to get the water properly. So anyways, there was 3 bids, and the one that we're recommending is through SCG process, the Surefill, for a total of $58,350.
Thank you, John. Any questions? Jason?
Just wondering, John, do we have any estimation of what we think will sell in a year or?
That I couldn't tell you, Jason. I'm not sure.
No, I just wondered.
It'll likely just be a splash of money.
Yeah.
Oh, or drop in the bucket. Yeah. We might go all wet on that estimate though. Okay, we'll stop. I'll stop anyway. Martin, you have a
I have
question?
one more, but I'm not going to mention it. Derek, would you be using this facility, and would our partners of other fire departments be using it quickly to fill up, or?
We're gonna charge them double.
Through the mayor, no, we wouldn't be using that. We have access to the fire hydrants, and I think what this is coming in is for those individuals, maybe the street sweepers or something that they have to get water that way. We're allowed obviously to use the hydrants, and we're not billing any residents for water we use for fire suppression. So.
Good answer. Any other questions? Monica.
Yes, thank you. Just through you, Chair. Just considering like the long-term maintenance outlined in the Southgate strategic plan, just wondering, what are the maintenance requirements for the selected Surefill system? And additionally, what would the ongoing costs or considerations related to the system maintenance look like?
John?
I can't answer that completely, Monica. I'm sorry, but I can't really see there being a whole lot of maintenance to it. It would just be part of the regular water department's checks every day. And as far as the billing system, I can't speak to that. Sorry. I don't know.
And just have a follow-up if that's okay.
Yep, go ahead, please.
And thank you through you, Chair, and just to you, John. Absolutely. I mean, in time, things will, more information can come available. So thank you for answering that. And just for the interface, just to touch on the point of various contractors that would possibly be using it. I just wanted to ensure that would there be like training and educational programs planned for users to familiarize themselves with the new system? Is that like a big undertaking for understanding how to operate?
I can't see it being a much of an undertaking. most municipalities around this area that have a water system have one of these bulk filling water stations already. So it should be fairly commonplace for any contractors that would be using them. They'd probably be familiar with them already. But it shouldn't be a whole lot to show them how to do it either.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, John. Any further questions? I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much, John. I see it's 5 after 10. Why don't we take a 5-minute or 10-minute break? We'll come back at 11 or 10:15. So we'll recess for 10 minutes. Okay, we'll bring the meeting back to order. We have some bylaws and motions to go through. The first is the bylaw to adopt the fees and charges. Joan and Monica, are you online? Joan's here, okay. I guess I started maybe a little minute too soon, so we'll just wait until Monica comes back online or till quarter after. Thank you, Brenna. Take care. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Lindsay's bringing cake apparently, so. Oh, bringing cake for our Christmas. Getting back to order. First is our bylaw to adopt the fees and charges. Is there a mover for that bylaw? Jim and Barb will second that. Any discussion? Barb?
I actually, just to comment, I was actually going to suggest that because we just had the public meeting and we were going to pass the bylaw in the same meeting, but the fact that we did advertise it in the paper, on social media, on the website, I think we've satisfied that need. So thank you.
Thank you, Barb. Any other questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. The next is to appoint our treasurer, Taylor McMahon. Someone care to move that, please? Jason and Martin. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is carried. Congratulations. Welcome again. So there's no backing out now. The next bylaw is to appoint an enforcement officer, Hannah Coombs. Is there a mover for that? Martin and Joan. Thank you. Any discussion? Call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. And again, as well, welcome to Hannah. Notice of motion. We have a couple here. The first is from Councillor Singh Soros, related to request to attend the Roma conference in 2024. Someone, Monica, you'll move that notice of motion, please? Yes, thank you. Is there a seconder? Martin? Monica, do you wish to speak to it? You are muted, ma'am.
How's that? Is that working?
There we go. Yeah, you're with us now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And through you, Chair, I don't have too much to add. It's just pretty much the Roma conference that is happening in January. I'm part of the SMART committee. So they have submitted a delegation and they are looking to have representation there. So it's pretty self-explanatory, I believe, just to have approval to attend, and I think it would be beneficial.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from council? Oh, Barb, go ahead.
So just wanted to clarify through you to Councillor Singh Soros, the SMART committee, is that delegation request going through another municipality? Because I wasn't aware that SMART could actually request its own delegation. I believe it might be Aaron Eldersley that might be submitting that request for the gas tax.
It's quite possible, yes. I just know that they're, from the committee point of view, that they're requesting for the committee to be there. As to who is submitting that, is possible. Yeah.
So is the delegation request regarding the gas tax?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And so I just wanted to clarify through the clerk, the budget, the numbers that I get from going from November 1st to last meeting, we have done great work in reducing our budget. from about 40,670 to about 25,843. So the addition of this, my understanding is that Councillor Singh Soars, you're asking to go to 3 conferences, which would total about $9,200. And that will increase the budget at a minimum to about 28,000.
Through you, Mayor Milne, without doing the math, that would seem about right.
Okay, thank you.
The delegation could also be going through the town of Hanover because they are the designated treasurer for the smart business. Okay, any further questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. The next is Councillor Shipston has a notice of motion regarding the national anthem. Martin, I presume you'll move that? Thank you. Is there a seconder? Jason. Martin, do you wish to speak to it? Please.
Well, it's kind of fortuitous. Microphone, bad for that today. The jar is getting filled. Yeah, it was kind of fortuitous that Lindsay put a report in about the integrity commissioner and all that stuff about lack of decorum and respect. I think it was just be a good symbol to do and just for the council meetings. I think if you come into the meeting knowing that you're part of a greater good, you could have a mindset change that you're not here for yourself, you're here for the public good. And I was thinking about this last night and I recalled a phrase in John F. Kennedy's, one of his speeches where I'm going to paraphrase it, but the essence is still the same. It's not what the township can do for you, but what you can do for the township. And I think that if we have that humble approach, and which we do have here, I think doing the national anthem before would just be a positive. So that's basically it. And with the Brenna going away, there's no reason being virtual and visual that we could have a little vignette of the flag and little scenes of Southgate too. And I'm not saying we sing it because we don't get that many viewers on YouTube. We don't want to lose any. But having it where we actually stand for the anthem would be a good thing, I think. So,
yeah, no, absolutely. And I will note that that was part of the hiring process that Taylor had to lead us in the national anthem. Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm kidding.
Is that a financial term?
I think it's a great idea. The county does it. A lot of other municipalities do the national anthem at the start of the meeting. So I think it's a great idea. So any further questions? Jason.
I think it's a great idea too. I just wondered, we used to do it here years ago, didn't they? Or was I remember coming to meeting. I just wondered.
Yeah, I don't recall Southgate ever doing
I
it.
thought we did, maybe.
At one time, we did recite the Lord's Prayer, same as the county and a lot of other municipalities, but of course, we're not allowed to do that anymore. But I don't recall the anthem being played.
Younger.
It could have been years ago. I wouldn't be surprised. It could have been God Save the Queen too. Who knows? Yeah, of course, it would be the king now. Barb.
Thank you. I agree with Councillor Shipston and Councillor Rice. I actually had this earmarked for maybe a 2024 request. It's been on my mind. So thank you, Martin, for bringing it forward, and I support it 100%.
Okay. Monica.
Yes, just through you, Chair, just want to echo the comments that's already been made. Councillor Shipston, thank you for bringing this forward, and I'm all for it, for our national anthem. And yeah, I would fully support this.
Okay. Joan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Shipson. I'm in as long as I don't have to sing.
Well, perhaps you could just hum. Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to the consent agenda. We have the regular business. There are 4 items there. Would anybody request any of those removed for further discussion? Someone care to move those 4 items be approved for receiving. Barb, seconded by Martin. Thank you. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. The next section is correspondence for information. There are 3 items there. Would anyone wish any of those removed for further discussion? Someone care to move them being received? Barb, seconded by Jason. Thank you. Monica, did you have a question? Or are you? Okay, good.
Just seconding it.
Yep, okay. Barb, question?
Just a comment, the Multi-Municipal Energy Working Group used to be, I believe, the Multi-Municipal Wind Turbine Working Group, and it is led out of Grey Highlands with a number of municipalities that are on board. It's interesting that this information is coming forward during this time of all of these projects for energy storage that is going on in a number of municipalities. So I found them a very interesting read.
Right. They're $1 short and a day late here in Southgate, but nonetheless, there's a lot of information there. Excellent. Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor of receiving these? That is carried. Thank you. The next is resolutions from other municipalities. Barb?
I'd like to pull 12.3.2.
Okay. Is there any other requests for items to be removed? There's quite a list of them there. Not seeing any. I'll ask the balance them to be received. Someone care to move that, please? Jason, seconded by Monica. Thank you. All those in favor? That is carried. So we might as well deal with 12.3.2 right now as that will finish the consent items. So Barb, what would be your request?
Thank you, Mayor Milne, and thank you. I would like to pull 12.3.2 and move a resolution to receive it for information. It's regarding violence against women, specifically intimate partner violence. And the resolution would be I've just removed the whereas clauses from the Dufferin County resolution and updated the be it resolved clauses to include the Township of Southgate. The Township of Southgate support the resolution of Dufferin County and attach it with the following. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township of Southgate hereby join other municipal and regional councils in officially declaring intimate partner violence an epidemic as per recommendation number 1 from the Culleton, Cusick, and Warmerdam inquest, and be it further resolved that the Township of Southgate recommends that gender-based violence and intimate partner violence be declared an epidemic, in the province of Ontario, and that the Township of Southgate requests that the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and all municipalities and regions in Ontario declare gender-based violence and intimate partner violence an epidemic, and that the Township of Southgate requests that the provincial and federal governments enact the additional 85 recommendations from the CKW inquest, which provides a roadmap to preventing intimate partner violence from escalating to femicide, and that the Township of Southgate requests that the federal government starts this enactment by adding the word femicide as a term to the Criminal Code of Canada, and that the Township of Southgate requests that the provincial and federal governments provide the necessary support to municipalities, regions, and their emergency and social services to meaningfully address the gender-based violence and intimate partner violence epidemic, and that the clerk be directed to send a copy of this motion to the Honourable Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, the Right Honourable Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, members of Parliament, members of Provincial Parliament, the United Nations, AMO, and all Ontario municipalities.
Okay, thank you. Is there? Yep, thank you. Is there a seconder for that motion? Monica, thank you. Any discussion? Martin?
Yeah, I agree with this. It's been coming on the news lately, quite often. And, you have a pandemic, you have an epidemic, and you have endemic. Endemic is something that's been around a long time. And I think because of the pandemic and all the stuff that's going on, it shows the flaws that we have in our system. And this is just being more out there because it's just being more forceful. So it's something to really look at. I think it's been there forever, but because of the pandemic and all the mental health issues and stuff, it's coming to a head.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Barb.
It is just a coincidence that this is the National Day of Remembrance, that this is coming forward. There are a number of resolutions out there. They've been coming for a number of months now. They'll continue to come. What I did read in the paper is that, and through our Women's Center in Owen Sound, the difficulties that intimate partners, whatever gender, but intimate partners are faced with, the rising cost of housing, the unavailability of affordable housing, the being locked down with, abusive spouses. It has increased, and they average about 50 deaths a year to intimate partner violence. So I thought that the timing was coincidental, but appropriate. Thank you.
Absolutely. Monica? And then
Yes. Sorry, yes, thank you. Just through you, Chair. I was looking to also pull this, so thank you, Deputy Mayor, for pulling that. And just with my years working in social services and seeing this firsthand, I'm very happy to support it, and in declaring gender-based violence and intimate partner violence as an epidemic in Dufferin County. And the resolution cannot be overstated, as it does address the critical issues that directly impacts the safety and well-being of our community. So I just wanted to echo that I stand in solidarity, advocating for a safer, more secure community. And I'm looking forward to seeing improvements in this area. So just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Joan?
Thank you, Mayor Mills, through the chair. Working as a social consultant development officer right now and working in the system on a daily basis, it's oftentimes pained me to point out that gender-based violence has been on the rise. And it's great, Deputy Mayor Dobrin, that we're going forward with this resolution, because we can do more than just remember. And every day we're fighting for safety, justice, equality, representation, and recognition. So this is really a good thing. And as somebody who work with it on a daily basis, I can tell you that it is very important that we're pulling this forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Any other questions, comments? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Barb. We have no closed session regarding consent items. County report. Website is there. We had a bit of a session last night up in Grey County. Just a little one. Yeah. Well, Barb, you go ahead. You tell. No, I don't. Well, I was reelected as warden, so I'm pretty excited about that. It's a great, the media asked me why a second year? And I said, well, two reasons. One, I love the job. And the second reason is because it's a great council and a great staff to work with. And I suppose I'll add a third. I have a lot of support here at the local level. And I noted that in the warden's address, that the staff and the council here have been very supportive, and I appreciate that. I really do. It's not easy to be a million places at once, although I wouldn't suggest I'm that busy, but there are times when Deputy Mayor Dobrin steps in and does official duties for me, and I appreciate that. So there, how's that? Go ahead. Barb.
Excellent. I just wanted to extend my congratulations, our congratulations. It is an exciting time, and to be acclaimed, no one stood against you. So congratulations.
Well, it's either that or nobody else wants the job.
Well, there is that too. There is that too. I did want to mention that the county council will be meeting on Friday to hopefully tackle the budget again.
Yep. Anyone have any questions related to county business? Okay. Members' privilege. Anybody have any items they wish to chat about? Monica, go ahead.
I was going to, but I think that I'll keep it for the next council meeting.
Okay, thank you. Oh, Martin. Oh, Martin, you go ahead.
Christmas parade. I was sorry I missed the Dundalk one, but the Holstein one's this Saturday. It's usually good. It's grown where maybe went 50 feet either side of the bridge to one highway to the next for the people attending. So it's a interesting parade. So.
Yep. Thank you, Martin. Barb?
Thank you. I was going to mention the upcoming Holstein Non-Motorized Parade. It is in its 30th parade, having missed only 1 year, and that was during the shutdown in 2020. So congratulations to them. I'm really looking forward to it and praying that it's not going to rain as they're predicting. I did want to also give a shout out with regard to the Dundalk Parade. The organizers that stepped up to bring back the traditional moving parade did an outstanding job. With over 40 registrations, there were about 32 floats that actually conveyed onto the street, and it was a beautiful night. So congratulations to the organizers and volunteers and our fire department that make that possible.
Thank you, Barb. Any others? Okay, not seeing any. We have 3 matters to deal with in closed session. And I'll just read the resolution here to go into closed session. Be it resolved that council proceed into closed session at, it is now 10:25 or 35 rather, in order to address matters relating to a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, more specifically, property negotiations. A proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, more specifically, opinion of land value. And a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, more specifically, property negotiations, and that all those required remain in attendance. Would someone care to move that, please? Barb and Jim. All those in favor? That is carried. We'll now proceed into the meeting room at the back for our closed session.